Hi, I'm Jen Ong, the founder of Gen TV, a digital TV channel that produces talk shows to educate, empower, and inspire our viewers. You'll be watching some inspiring stories that will be starting soon. Please share this with your friends and families to inspire more people. Stay tuned with us. Hi, I'm Jen Ong, the founder of Gen TV, a digital TV channel that produces talk shows to educate, empower, and inspire our viewers. You'll be watching some inspiring stories that will be starting soon. Please share this with your friends and families to inspire more people. Stay tuned with us.
Welcome back to Live the Stage with me, Frida Liu, on Gen TV. I'm going to call this three-parter Sustainability at Heart. Why? When we think of sustainability, we think of things like climate action and the environment. However, Sustainable Development Goal number 3 is about good health and well-being, where we look towards ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being of all ages. So my guests today and the following weeks are some of the inspiring speakers and trainers who did just that and stood up for others, assisted in raising funds for people in need, help uplift people's morale and mood while reviving their own business and reinventing themselves. And they all have such interesting stories to tell. My first guest, the among the thorns, is Marianna Pascal. Her mantra is often challenge breeds excellence, and she's one of the top intercultural communication experts in Asia, and that required overcoming 3 life challenges, one of which was being severely dyslexic child, unable to read properly. So Marianna developed an acute sense of listening, and today she has more than 26 million viewers of her world-famous TEDx talks, and is a world champion of public speaking semi-finals. So she had 3 life challenges. I've mentioned one. We'll go through the others later. My second guest is an old and dear friend, born with a stammering issue, which I did not know, which he struggled with until 18 years of age. Andrew Chow overcame the psychological challenges to become one of the few certified speaking professionals in the world. Ahead of the biggest digital disruption of our lifetime, Andrew was already pitching to companies to embrace digital transformation and disrupt themselves to be future ready. I know he's constantly evolving and transforming and chasing me to do the same. Last but not least, we have Avi Liran, raised by 2 Holocaust survivors who lost everything except their lives. They dedicated themselves to helping others, and Avi learned early in life how to convert profound hardship and deep pain into contribution, generosity, and joy. At the start of the COVID-19, he created a virtual event called Mojo, Moments of Joyous Optimism, conversations based on his Chief Delighting Officer programs as a free service to people who are suffering worldwide from anxiety, stress, loss of income, mobility, and depression. So hello, everyone. So good to be seeing all of you. Yay. Okay. Now, I want to ask this question to all of you. Your immediate reaction when you first heard of the pandemic and it finally hit our shores, what were you thinking? I'll start with you, Avi.
That was very weird because I got it when I was training in Australia. And then I was actually, a day before the close down, was a training with 150 people. And I was teaching them how to say hello with the elbows, which of course is a no-no thereafter. And no mask at that time. And I was quarantined. I was locked in Australia for 3 months. But the reaction was first, honeymoon. So we were in a farm in Australia, honeymoon. But the world was suffering and business was suffering.
Right.
So yeah, in short, shock and joy at the same time.
Right. Shock and joy at the same time. What about you, Marianna?
Well, I remember getting it in a split second. I was renting this office space, a Regis office space downtown Johor Bahru in City Square, way up high on the 25th floor or something like that. And, they were talking, there was a lot of talk about it, and they were talking about they were going to close the offices down, and we couldn't believe it. We were thinking, why are they, come on, this is not such a big deal. This is mostly China. And then suddenly, a couple of them are looking out the window, and I say, what's all the fuss? We go and we look out the window, and it's looking out over the causeway to Singapore, and it's been closed. And if you live in Johor Bahru, or say, you know there's 3 things in the world you can count on, right? Death, taxes, and jam on the causeway. And there was not a car on it. And that's when we realized, oh my God, this is big. This is big. Yeah, that was the moment.
Okay, so and of course, like I was just talking to some folks as well. We thought it was going to be like SARS, and well, it'll be a couple of months, and we'll get back to normal. What about you, Andrew? What was your immediate reaction?
Earlier last year, I was actually doing a lot of traveling. So I went to Myanmar, Cambodia. Before that, I was in Russia, and then I went to Australia very, very briefly in February. We heard of it. We had to wear masks. Of course, I couldn't really breathe. And then, when it was announced in Singapore, I thought that, well, this is going to be like a drill, right? So maybe like 1 month, and you'll be over. And then becomes 10 weeks. And then, of course, everything dies off, which is, so that was like a shock. And I think I had no time to panic. I was already planning for what to do next. So yeah, I guess later I will share about it. But I kind of expected that we really have to lock down, because we actually dropped the ball on our dormitory case. So which make it worse. Yeah. So that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about Singapore, you said drop the ball, but then you all quickly picked up the ball, So interesting what when we watch Singapore. I want to know a little bit about yourselves and of course what you guys have gone through. So Marianna, I love your mantra about often challenge breeds excellence. I was not aware that you lost 50% of your hearing 3 years ago, right? And that's 3 years ago. And I think people always freeze themselves into inaction. What did you do to overcome this?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because for me, it was almost the opposite. I was doing everything I could to change the situation, and my doctor and just about all the research showed I was never going to get my hearing back. And I spent months, thinking, trying everything possible. But then one day I was with this friend of mine, and we were in a restaurant, and he started talking. He said, I got to talk to you about something. He said, I'm about to break up with my girlfriend. And he really needed to talk. And in that moment, this family of people came and sat down, and I couldn't hear, I couldn't hear anything. I just zoomed in, and I gave him I just thought all I can do is just give my undivided attention. And when I did that, I realized that was good enough for him. He just wanted someone to really be there for him. And I realized, maybe I can accept this. I can still give people my undivided attention without hearing everything. And that was the moment I stopped trying to do something about it. And I accepted it is what it is. And sometimes I think when things are bad, the place to start is by just taking stock of reality and saying, this this is what it is. And that moment when I accepted it, it was such a burden lifted from my shoulders. I was happier after that. I stopped suffering.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. So because we've spoken many years ago, when we had a conversation. And so 3 years ago was 2019, 2018 sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Andrew, I know you were and are helping entrepreneurs, coaches, and trainers during Spirit. Now, can you share, some of your stories, when this hit them and your clients?
Okay, so the funny thing was 9 months before we had the circuit breaker, which was 6th of April 2020. 6 months before that, the funny thing is that my speaking gigs, my training was really, really reduced for whatever reasons I don't understand. And then when COVID started, I was like, oh no, this is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? This is going to be the end of Andrew, because I'm not going to have any business. And strangely enough, in April, suddenly there was a surge in hard skill, core skills, digital skills, work from home skills, right? So everybody, every company that I know now, they put less emphasis on soft skill and they put it on hard skill. So suddenly my booking started happening again. And then I got 16 months ahead of time being booked. I never had that kind of thing in my life. So I thought that I think a lot of people are struggling. So why not I just organize a lot of webinars? I was organizing 20 webinars in a month from April, May, June, July of last year. And all sorts of topics, anything to do with upgrading yourself. And I invited a lot of people. It was just amazing. And those days when Zoom just started, the Zoom service isn't that affordable for webinar, right? So we have to, if you have 500 people or 1,000 people, you need to have a very big account. So, but I just thought that this is my way of sowing the seeds, giving back, because I've been blessed. And I think we are blessed for a reason. We are blessed to be a giver. We are just steward of a lot of things that we are given from heaven.
Right.
So, I think a lot of people are struggling right now. It could have been me, but now it's not me. I think that was why I did what I did. I just thought that I think everybody needs some blessings, that somebody can organize something to get everybody up to speed. So I was one of the first few who did webinar for a few hundred people. And actually, right, to organize a big webinar and no rehearsal, no experience, you just go, just do a crash course on Zoom and just kick.
Right. And I just realized that it's only last year that we all picked up skills on Zoom, right? And I think when I look at you, Andrew, you've always been the sort of person who's sort of prepared. I mean, when this came about, I think you were already thinking about these things, not knowing there was a pandemic. You were prepared in that sense.
Yeah. So I now looking back, I know why I was my business slowed down, because then I have the mind and the clarity to think about what I'm going to do when the flood is just outside my door. Literally, So I'm very thankful. Even today, right? Strangely, I was asked to share about this story a few times in other conferences. So a lot of good things come out of it, and I was really happy. And of course, we have a lot of other speakers that are very supportive. I know Marianna and Avid for many years when I was a young president. And then they were there. We actually came in touch. Marianna has gone so much more attractive than before. Not that you're not attractive, 7 years ago, but now I saw even the physical transformation. I think as your life evolves, I think everything becomes better. Really.
Right. So, okay, thanks for sharing that part. Of course, listening to Marianna again, this ability you develop listening because of your dyslexic problem, and then with 50% loss of hearing, you learn about having an undivided attention, giving undivided attention. Right, Avi, what did you learn from your parents? Them being Holocaust survivors.
Well, first I want to tell you that these two guys are angels, and they just spoke a little bit about what they do. They do so much more. My parents, they suffered the Holocaust, and when you are orphan and when you have no money and when you're actually a refugee, you make a decision. And so my mom, for example, made a decision without 6 years of education and to become a doctor.
Wow.
And I remember one night we were young and my father passed away already. I was only 12. She had the mortgage, she had debts. So only money that she really made as a doctor was a private calls. And one day she comes back home and I say, so at 2 a.m. it was a blizzard storm outside. I said, did you earn? And she said, no. I said, why? And she said, you don't understand. These people are so poor, they can't even afford to go to A&E. And I take the medicine that the salespeople, promotion of the pharmaceutical companies give me, and I give to them. You see, Avi, I have 3 prices. The poor don't have to pay. Normal people pay normal, and rich people will pay double, and they know it. And by the way, this is my charging price for companies as well and countries as well. So if you're very rich, you're going to pay more. If you can't afford, we'll find a solution for you.
Right.
And
right.
I think the second thing that I learned is it's not to me to choose to give. And there was a story that I went with my mom, and I didn't want to give money to a guy that was begging because he had some beer. And she looked at me and said, no, if someone put the hand, that means that they need it. It's not for you to judge. And just put it. And I said, but what if he buys alcohol? He said, you know what? Just go to him, kneel down, be at eye level, ask him if he's hungry. And if he's hungry, ask him what he wants to eat. And then go and eat, preferably eat with him. And share a conversation. Make that person feel seen. It's not for you to judge. Somebody give, open the hand, you just give.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. This is amazing, especially if you talk about what your parents have gone through. Now, I know, Marianna, you kept supporting an orphanage in Johor Bahru, paying their amenity bills so they can survive until the donations resumed from Singapore. You didn't know how I found out about that, but anyway. So why was this important for you to do, despite the challenges as a trainer during this period?
I think for 2 reasons. The first reason was, unlike Andrew, I did not jump into action. I do soft skills. So I was really badly hit and I couldn't go across the causeway to Singapore anymore. So I really had 2020 was a nothing year for me work-wise. And I could feel that mindset of, the scarcity mindset. I could feel creeping in that old mindset of not having enough, of being needy, of being poor. And, the best way to overcome, because that mindset is debilitating. When you start to think, I have nothing or I don't have enough, then you can't even do anything. And you see yourself as a kind of a loser. So the best way to mitigate against that was to be a giver. So I spent 2020 giving in quite a few ways. And the other thing was I actually went to the orphanage myself. I wanted to talk to them firsthand because we've actually supported them for years, but I went there firsthand. And when they told me what they were going through, I mean, this was unbelievable. These are really severely disabled kids, and they need to be showered twice a day, because they get bed sores, and suddenly they can't pay their their hot water, their electric bill, and they need hot water to shower these kids. So they couldn't pay their electric bill, and the electric bill was a fortune. So somebody had to step in. So, like Andrew, I thought to myself, I am lucky, like just about everything that I have. I'm not I didn't create everything. I can have that mindset, but I can just as easily have the mindset that I've been incredibly lucky. So I just thought, okay, I'm not making money. I can still give back. So it was those 2 things, wanting to have a giver mindset and also seeing they need, and I'm lucky. So no brainer.
Okay, so no, this is deep. Okay, the giver mindset, and you said I didn't want to think I have nothing, right? And when you keep saying that I have nothing, you will attract nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And if you believe that you have something to give, I believe more will come to you as well. So no, kudos to you for doing that, right? I mean, one of the things that I try to support is actually supporting social enterprises, because I believe that social enterprises support sustainable development goals. I know they have different, all these different companies have different causes, and I want them to survive as businesses, right? So, and I want their work to continue. And so this is like the little bit that if wherever I can, I that's my place to support social enterprises. But thanks, for the work they do. Now, Avi, at the start of the pandemic, you created a virtual event called Mojo, Moments of Joyous Optimism Conversations, based on your programs as a free service to people as who are suffering worldwide, right? Now, how has this helped people? Why did you do it?
Oh, because at time of despair, you have to bring your spirit up, and it could go both ways. People go to extreme. On one side, you can be delusional optimistic, and then it's going to be very bad, because if you know about Stockdale paradox, if you feel that it's going to end immediately and you're going to be optimistic, when it doesn't happen, you're going to be devastated and maybe even die of a broken heart. So, and on the other side, pessimism causes paralysis and depression and maybe even suicide. So you don't want to be at any one of the places. You want to be somewhere in the middle, which is, I call the glass syndrome, which means not half full or not half empty, simply a glass, and you just go to fill it up. Right. And that's basically, you do whatever you can and whatever water you can get. So we thought, how are we going to bring Mojo back? But we had a problem, because we wanted to have moments off, and we knew that the book that we are working with my 85 years old partner is Everlasting Optimism. Right. So we were missing the J, and then Stephanie came up and say joyous optimism. So that got the moments of joyous optimism. And the idea was to make people heard. We start with a story, and then we break them up into rooms to share their own stories. And like Marianna said, people want to be heard and share, and they share their own stories. And afterwards, when they go out from the room, they share their stories. So I share your story, you share mine. Now, beautiful things happen on top of time management, which is good because you're not going to remember so many details. But also, I feel proud when you share my story. You feel connected to me when I share yours. So it was fabulous, and their stories were better than ours. Right. So it was really, and every time we did Mojo, we did with a different theme. So people were always interested. What you see up over there is what we called Angel of Delight.
Right. Okay, and so this is free for all kind of thing. You're still doing this now?
Until today, now it's once a month, and everybody is invited, and everybody has a voice, and we are absolutely about serving that. And some clients come to us and say, "Please do Mojo for our companies," but that is chargeable.
Right. No, but how has the Mojo conversations evolved? Since I believe some things were, there were some acts of kindness that developed from this.
Oh yeah, we have a team in Philippines, and when it hit bad Philippines, we heard that our team members sees a lot of people that can't even feed themselves. So we teamed up with an organization of women that goes and cooks for people and send it, and we managed to do a fundraise for them. We got fed 600 people for 4 days, and we did other sessions that we helped a big financial organization to raise $60,000 for psychiatric help for teens in risk. So yeah, we could do more.
Right. So it's just grown organically. And this has been the impact of just starting that first conversation once a month. And this has just grown and grown and grown. A movement has happened.
I wish I could call it a movement. It's going to be a little bit too much of me to say, but we do have our regulars, and we do have people that ask us. And I should invite Andrew, because Marianna was on Mojo, and she shared about how to write a legacy story.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, I might get Marianna to share how to write that legacy story. I think it ties in very nicely. I'll get to you in just a moment, Marianna. Now, Andrew, you suffered a brain stroke in 2018. I remember it because you dropped me a message and you said, I've been silent because I just had a brain stroke. I was like, what? And how was that a wake-up call for you?
Wow. You know what? When you asked me that question, suddenly I remember something else. There was a day, end of 2018, I went to your office and I asked you all for dinner. Remember that dinner?
Yes.
We were having some healthy food. Do you know something? You were the last person I met or have dinner with, and then that very night itself, I had a stroke.
Don't blame it on me.
No. But it's just uncanny because now I'm sitting here and then oh dear, I was the last person, because the next morning when I woke up, my world was changed because I found that, hey, look, how come half the body is immobilized? It's so heavy. I have to drag it, and then I thought it was just sleeping position. Sometimes you wake up. Yeah. So I thought I could walk it off, and after 5 minutes it's still there. And then I still tell myself, maybe I should Google what's wrong with me, right? And then when I open my notebook, I know that my right hand is just this. It's just in this situation. I can't type. I completely forgot everything about writing and typing. And even when I tried to key the mobile phone, all the sensing was gone. I thought I was pressing real hard, but it was nothing. Really nothing. And I was so panicky. I was in KL. I make my way back to Singapore on a coach. After 12 hours, the doctor said I was crazy because I was having a BP of 220.
Wow.
The nurse, they seen everything, right? If the nurse screamed, that means the nurse was shocked. The nurse was shocked. And I remember the doctor says, Mr. Chow, I understand how you feel. Give us 6 months, and I think you will see some improvement.
Right.
So I said to him, I am kind of busy. I can't afford 6 months. What about 1 month? And then he looked at me and said it was crazy. And then, he just laughed. He says, miracles still happen. Yeah. So I thought, why not? We just begin now, discharge me. So I discharged without a single appointment with the physiotherapist. I failed all the tests. I can't do this at all. I can't do this. I can't do this. I thought I was moving fast, but to them, I was doing this.
Oh, wow.
I was doing this. And even my brain, how I see my movement is all messed up. But at the time, I should have panicked, right? But I didn't listen to the doctor. And that showed me the power of the mind. Because if you accept what the doctor says, 6 months, you know what? Your body is going to take command from your words. Hey, our boss says 6 months. Let's relax and let's have a 6 months timeline. So after 33 days, I went back. So I did my own physio. I actually buy marker so big, and then I write my name. I had to write all over again until I can spin the pen. And then my blood clot, there was bleeding. I had no medication, no surgery, no nothing. It was gone.
Right.
And then the best words was, you don't have to come back anymore. You are healed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I realized that the power of the mind is so important. You know why he was healed 1 month? Because I said 1 month.
Right.
And body just, so on hindsight, I should have said 2 weeks. I should say 4 days, right? Why did I say 1 month? Then the body just take 1 month to heal. So, and that prepared me for COVID, because if I can survive a stroke and half disability, so to speak, I think I can conquer a lot of things. And I remember, right, this was the same mindset I had when I was 18 years old, overcoming the stammering issue.
Right. Okay. So I like that, the power of the mind, the words that is said to us, what we choose to accept, and the words that you choose to accept as well. But were you also thinking of other things? Like, I know, you're concerned by health, but were there other the thoughts like, well, what about my business? What about all these things? Did that all disappear? Or you?
So, we all speak for a living, right? So you can imagine, if we can't speak, we can't write, that means I'm just completely useless, right? So I can do my left hand, but I have to learn everything all over again. And I remember 3 days after that stroke, there was one training I couldn't cancel because it was just too near. And I remember I show up in that training, and the first thing I did was to tell everybody I just recovered from a stroke. And do you mind if I go slower and use my left hand to write?
Right.
Yeah, and they were all shocked. And they all told me the same thing. You shouldn't be here. But I understand how a stroke patient. I felt that I ran a marathon after that one day because I was so tired. Because you are forcing your body to move, and and health is really above wealth. So, and I think that is why three of us are here sharing our story, because I think wealth is relative. Whenever we have something given to us, we can always give away, but health can be taken away from us. Yeah,
Right.
so this is our responsibility to keep being healthy so that we can give more.
Right. Marianna, Avi was talking about this, writing this legacy, right? Can you share a little bit about, what you shared there?
Yeah, it's funny how that came about. My mother, before she died, my mother wrote this journal of her life and her mother's life, everything that she could remember. And, you know what it's like with your mother, she gave me that. And I thought, oh, I know all these stories. I'll read it to my daughter someday. I'll read it later. I never read it. It was really long. And I started reading it to my daughter. Anyway, during COVID, I thought to myself, I'm going to type it up and I'm going to send it to everybody that knew my mother. And I just could not believe, Frida, first of all, how transformed I was, because when you are exposed to somebody's legacy, their story, you see them completely different. Suddenly I saw my mother as a whole human being, and I understood why she was the way that she was. And I started thinking during COVID, okay, well, what I can do, one way I can be useful is there's all these old folks that are separated from their kids in old folks' homes around the world. I can go to these homes and offer to help them tell their legacy stories or write them, explore their life stories. And I remember calling these old folks' homes. And I remember one day speaking to a young receptionist. And as I'm explaining the idea to her, I can do this for you. And there's no charge. This will be, I can just, she starts crying and telling me that her aunt died and it's too late. She never knew the story of her aunt. And I just realized how much people need to hear. They need a sense of continuity. And what's really interesting? Think about COVID. If we even think about imagine that we went through this, but we had never had the legacy of having gone this 100 years ago. That, knowing that we went through this and we survived it, is a legacy story that's given us all strength to know we're going to come out of this. If we've never been through a global pandemic before, can you imagine how scared we would be going into it? We don't realize the value of those stories of our lives. And especially now more than ever that we're separated by distance and we're all on our devices. So I'm doing this for corporations now, and I just did it for an organization in Canada. And I'm just finding everybody is interested in some level in not just where are we today, but like Andrew said, what we've come from, and like Avi does with his Mojo, it's helping people to proceed with their lives. So it's putting things in context.
And I like it, right? We will overcome this together, right? I want to bring up your second challenge as well, because if you haven't seen Marianna's TEDx video, and her doing a Malaysian accent is hilarious. But also the challenge was this around communication and being married to a Malaysian Chinese, right? And like, what's the story there, and how it's not language, it's something,
Oh, it's not language, it's culture, right? It's my husband, you know, it just the style was, it was so different. You know, for an example, right? You know, when we would go to my house in Canada and I would say to my mother, have you had lunch yet? My mother would say, oh, well, you know, I had a sandwich at about 7 o'clock and, you know, it was very nice. And I got some ham from the shop and it was half price. And then I had a bit of some vegetables and make a bit of salad and I put it back in the, it will be, you know, my mother-in-law, my Chinese mother-in-law, you say, "Safan," you know, my mother-in-law says, you know, that's the end of the conversation. You know, there's no more. That's enough, you know?
Yeah.
So just profound differences with my husband. Yeah. You can see where I'm not married.
Okay. You know, so serendipity has been described as finding good without looking for it, right? And I just want to know, like, for each of you, how has the last 2 years been serendipitous for you? Andrew.
I think the last 2 years show me how blessed I am. You know, I honestly do not feel I lack anything. And you know, when you you know, all of us, I think 3 of us sitting here, I maybe you're younger, Fida, but we have gone through. Once you've gone past 50, you begin to realize the passing of time. You're being time conscious that the remaining days will be shorter than the days that we have lived. So it really makes me think and to make every day count.
Right. Right.
And I begin to learn to show more gratitude towards everything, because I used to be a person who don't think about this, right? I just move. I just jump from thing to thing, and now I'm more appreciative. I'm also very appreciative of you giving us a chance for us to share our story once again. You know, this is something that we don't do it every day, and I would still want to be giving. And after hearing Marianna sharing so many things, I felt that I really didn't do a lot of things. So I need to do more, because there are like so many people who need our help. And as I look around surrounding countries, the situation is getting worse. Including Singapore. So all it takes is one isolated cases, and then we go new cluster again. So I think we are growing more frustrated, and all the more I think we need to show compassion right now than ever. This year, it's tougher than last year. Right. And this year, a lot of the grants by the government are drying up compared to last year. True. So I see a lot of tough days ahead. I understand in Malaysia, it's the same thing, if not worse.
Yes.
And I think this is the time for us to rise up, because we are, in a way, influencers. We got to take the lead, because we have the platform to inspire many other people to just do what they need to do.
Right. Avi?
I believe in what is called self-serendipity making. And if you look at us being over here, the serendipity happened because what we did and how we found a real benefit. Because when you change your mindset to give, other people that are giving are in the same area. And these people are the nicest people around. So by making this decision, you meet angels like Andrew, like Marianna, and you become really great friends. And in the middle of life, where do you find so much great friends? You left school already, you are at work, but the best place to find nice friends and create your own serendipity and maybe opportunities afterwards to maybe work for someone is create your own serendipity by having a mindset of what I call blessed and grateful. Instead of just focusing on what you don't have, start to count what actually happens. And you can be authentic if you add this when you say, how are you today? And I would say blessed and grateful and maybe sad or maybe angry or whatever. So I'm blessed and grateful, Frida, that you chose us.
Right. All right. Marianna?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first of all, in terms of serendipity, that, you know, Avi and Andrew have done these webinars and I've attended both. And Avi, I've listened to Avi a lot over the year. Avi's sort of like the delight king of the world. His role in life, his purpose is to deliver life, to deliver delight. So he's, you know, he's always telling me these wonderful stories, and I pass it on to others. So I think the serendipity we're seeing is everything going around full circle. Everybody is helping everybody else. We see it in Malaysia. I've never been sort of prouder and more honored to be a part of this country, because isn't it true, Frida, to see the way people have come together in this country and support, right now, my friends came over the other night and showed me this new map that you get, and the map.
Yes, kita jaga kita,
They're what they need in their location. You can just go and you can see, someone needs diapers 5 kilometers away, and you can send it to them. I mean, Malaysians absolutely are at their best right now. I mean, the most beautiful is coming out, and and coming together. And that it's heartwarming.
And us choosing to see the good, right? Us focusing on the good, because we can also look at the bad, but we choose to see the good and how we can contribute to that, right? Final question, right?
Isn't it? It's a we right now.
What's your word of advice for those who can't see the light at the end of the tunnel? I'm going to ask this to Andrew first.
Just keep walking. Just keep walking. You will see it. The worst thing to do is to stand still, and start looking up, because you're not getting anywhere. Yeah. Even in a tunnel, there's only 2 ways, forward and or backward. You choose. So I think a lot of us are going to walk forward. Yeah.
Okay. As Johnny Walker would say. Marianna?
I would say remember the lucky side in you, so that you become a giver, you become someone that, like I did, change your mindset from someone that's scared and lacking to someone that's lucky and that has and can give something. And one more thing I'm thinking, when you use those words, who can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, there is not a single person on this planet who hasn't been in that place where they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but every one of them says, I have been there. And that alone implies you get out of it. Like Andrew said, it's not forever. The day will come when you are no longer in that place. So just know that, at least. Know that.
Wow. All right. Powerful, Marianna. Avi?
I go with Andrew. It's an illusion that there is no light at the end of a tunnel, because it's just a curve and you can't see it. You keep on going and suddenly you see it's closer than you are. Don't be discouraged. Take, like Marianna said, some sources from yourself, and don't be shy to ask. It's okay. I tell leaders all the time, when you ask people to help you, actually they feel proud, happy, joyful to help you. Reach out.
All right. Avi, Marianna, Andrew, thank you so much, for making my day, and just reminding me of how grateful I am for all that I have, right? So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for watching Live the Stage with me, Frida Liu, on Gen TV. And this has been the Sustainability at Heart series. And next week, we'll be speaking to a few other inspiring individuals. So stay safe, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Frida.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Gen TV, a digital TV channel featuring compelling interviews on life, parenting, entrepreneurship, women empowerment, and the realities of living. If you're interested to produce this kind of talk shows, do drop us a message here on our FB or send us a WhatsApp message at the numbers below. We will be in touch with you soon. Follow us on Gen TV FB for more interesting and inspiring stories.